So shall we start? Okay. So life after COVID-19. How life will be totally different. Could the huge change that we have it during the fight of COVID-19 will make a really paradigm change in all aspects we have, especially in education, training, and employment? Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Ramadan. I'm a pharmacist by study, I'm an educator by profession, and I'm an entrepreneur by passion. I'm the CEO and founder of Pharma Brigade Academy, a new platform to support the digital transformation of pharmacists, education training. We help educators, students, and professionals to have their smooth transition and transformation from non-digital to fully digital and agile way. I'm so delighted today to be your moderator for the webinar. And our webinar today is very special. We have very amazing speakers. We will have a great focus on the future of education, employability, and training after COVID-19. Without any further delay, please let me introduce our first speaker, Dr. Ahmed Dabag. Okay, Dr. Ahmed is so impressive person, and to be honest, with a big bio, let me try to just capture some of this. So Dr. Ahmed is Director, Technology Transfer and Partnership at Sharjah Research, Technology and Innovation Park. And thanks for the invitation today and for this initiative, Dr. Ahmed. Dr. Ahmed is a pioneer in the field of innovation, platforms and resources, with more than 26 years of experience as a senior technical and academic positions holding. He holds 6 patency, which is very international and it's very wow for me. Dr. Dabag worked in Emirates ID Authority as an advisor in innovation and as also a creativity and strategic committee member to draw the 5 years next for the coming strategy and digital strategy. Prior to joining the Emirates ID Authority, Dr. Dabag was Director of Service Development at Khalifa University at Ankabut. And for people who didn't know this, Ankabut is an initiative from Khalifa University offering academic connectivity even prior to COVID-19 from one education to all the educations or networking around the world. He also, used to be as a visiting professor in Paris Sorbonne in Abu Dhabi, and also in Khalifa and Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University teaching postgraduate program. Wow, this is very impressive. Okay, bye. Dr. Ahmed also got a huge experience from working in different international sectors, especially in Germany and France, for more than 17 years. He worked with a main domain of the microprocessors design in big names like Thomson, like Motorola, STM Microelectronics, and Siemens. Dr. Ahmed is holding a degree as an academic master degree in science, in image and signal processing, and a PhD in telecommunication from the University of Rennes, France. He's our first speaker, and thanks, Dr. Ahmed, for the invitation. I'll introduce our second speaker today, and after we finish, every speaker will start to give their insights, success stories, experiences about how life will change totally after COVID-19. So our next speaker is also very unique lady, and so proud of her because she's a key person in digital transformation in the American University of Sharjah. Dr. Van Ahmed is the leading person and a senior fellow of the UK Higher Education Academy and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Building with more than 25 years of academic and industrial experience. Before the AUS, she joined many positions within UK higher education, and she's working including directorship of postgraduate research and the directorship of the online doctorate programs from 2004 till 2017. She has over 100 referred journal and conference publications. She's very working hard on this kind of supporting doctoral students to be very successful, and she managed to help them. Her broad research interests include construction, management, IT, and engineering education. She holds a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and master in construction and PhD in the computer-aided learning in construction from LabPro, UK University. Thanks, Dr. Van, for being with us. She's very unique, and she will be with us to give many insights about the success story from AUS and how they managed to have the swift transformation during COVID-19 to have the online learning. Dr. Ryan. Okay. Last but not least, Dr. Walid Kobesi, we have a special consultant from the corporate perspective, from the excellence perspective and organizational development. Dr. Kobesi is an assessor in more than 7 UAE Excellence Awards, trained more than 4,000 people around the globe, and he has a broad spectrum experience in future forecasting, innovation, future foresighting, also in the innovation and agility of the organizations. He is a business excellence consultant with the UAE government in terms of performance management and improvement, strategic alignment with the fourth generation industrial revolution, and in the innovation management as a key position leader. Dr. Walid will give us a clear idea about the UAE perspective and vision 2071 and how this trend can affect or affected by the COVID-19. Do we have major changes now in the vision? Do we need more acceleration or we need to change the way? So without any further delay, I will give the mic for Dr. Ahmedabad to welcome him and have a slide insights from his broad experience, and then we will continue. Yes, please, Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you, Dr. Asara. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon. I hope you will enjoy this very exciting topic we are talking about. You have seen different topics talking about after COVID-19, but the unique discussion we'll bring here is what happened before COVID-19, what's happening during the pandemic, and what the lesson we learned from this one, and what will be the future. For the future will be shiny, inshallah. We will all, inshallah, will surmount this situation, this critical situation, but we will come up with an excellent future. I think what happened during COVID-19, it broke a lot of legacy, and it came up to a new regulations and a new mindset, which align 100% with the digital transformation and what we call about the fourth industrial revolution. Let me share with you my presentation. My presentation is in two parts. First of all, I will talk about the Sharjah Research Technology and Innovation Park. Who are we, what we are doing, and what are the main activities that we are running, okay? And after, I will go through the main topic that we are talking here about the education and about the employability. And of course, during the discussion, we'll talk about the training, which is a big part, I think, here in the discussion. First of all, we are Sharjah Research and Technology Innovation Park is an initiative launched by His Highness Sheikh Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, Member Supreme of United Arab Emirates, ruler of Sharjah. I think everybody knows who is His Highness. He's a holder of more than 2 PhDs. He's really a lover of science and technology. And with the association with American University of Sharjah, he launched the Science Park, which is the Sharjah Research Park. His Highness invested a lot in the Sharjah Academic City, where he put a lot of money, and he looks for a great outcome, which is the great talents working in technology, and to create a local technology and to commercialize it to the local market and to contribute to the GDP. And here where we find the main strategy of the Sharjah Research Park is to be the leader in innovation-free zones and to foster research and development, and to deliver socio-economic impact regionally and even globally. And here the mission is to engage the community of innovation from universities, from private sectors, and for government to contribute and to work together, and which is not an easy task. I think let them working together. First of all, we have to ease the communication between different parties. As you know, the language in academia is completely different than language in business, and completely different as the language in government. And here we are in the middle to collaborate and to ease the language and the communication between parties to work together and to fulfill the requirement of the science park. Here, building the innovation ecosystem, this is a real innovation ecosystem where we have companies working together, we have a government contributing to the policies and to the regulations, and to give us also hints how will be the future of technology and services in government, and also working with the universities. Very close to us, we have more than 22 institutions and more than 47,000 students. And here you see this is the mine, the gold mine that we are sitting on. I think here it's excellent that if we can use at least 1% of them as a real talents that they can generate a technology made in UAE or made in the region by using local talents. Generate employment, this is all the talents graduated from the universities. I think they can see the Sharjah Research Technology and Innovation Park as a home of either to create their startups or to contribute to the actual research and development projects and to work with. Catalyze the knowledge economy. We are contributing to the GDP of the country in innovation. As you know, that UAE adopted innovation strategy from 2014. I think what we are doing in the science park with the good wealth of the startups and the companies here, any creation of products and commercialized from the science park is a contribution to the GDP of the country. At the end, invest in the future, and you will see the latest technology. We are talking always about the technology of the future, and our activities reflect this in the right sense. Here you see this is at glance, some numbers as the Sharjah University City, 22 college institution, 47,000 students, more than 2,000 PhD holders, and more than 100 nationalities, all in one area and working together. I think here the science park is an excellent tool of innovation for students, for researchers, for professors to work together with the business. And here I think Dr. Sarah is an excellent example of a company set over our science park, but their aim is to enhance the education of pharmacy by using the new technologies and the new way of training and new technologies to facilitate the education of pharmacy. Here, our association with American University of Sharjah, to be honest with you, we are owned by American University of Sharjah, but the aim is to work with all universities. We are open even internationally here with the universities from Finland and from Sweden, from UK, from United States, and we are working with a lot of science parks and a lot of R&Ds. As you have seen here, we have even an international presence like United Nations, and we have international presence from R&D like Fraunhofer and like Vito. Here, this is why you establish, a lot of people say why we have to come to SRTIP. I think on different reasons that we are committed. We have an excellent team that they are working very close to the startups and to the companies established in the park, and also to facilitate their business and to link them with the government and with universities. You don't find this somewhere else. Any science park or any free zone, I think this is more rent than exceeding this one to have the business opportunities and to work on this one. And the bottom line is to access researchers and students from University City, which is our added value. Here, the 6 main activities of our park are water technology, environmental technology, renewable energy, digitization, mobility, smart cities, and transport and logistics, production design architecture. I think if you have seen from the news yesterday that some researchers and some teams from our science park, they developed the face shield, this to protect against the COVID-19. And we have a lot of demand from hospitals, from police, from different emirates to subsidize this technology to them as soon as possible, because it proves that it would reduce the contamination at 86%. Here, this is our nice headquarters. You see it in my background, but here, so this headquarters will be open on June, inshallah, and we welcome everyone to come and to visit our state-of-the-art building. I think but the state-of-the-art is not in the building itself, but also inside the building by the ecosystem we are building here. This is the type of companies, I think here we are working more than 1 year with them in different activities from artificial intelligence, 3D printing, governance, train, the state-of-the-art trains, I think transport here, this transport mobility, like and also 5G. Let me set this three or four R&D projects that we are working, and we are proud of working with the different partners as the 5G IoT with, we are setting up a 5G IoT R&D lab in collaboration with Nokia and with DO and with Spacewide and with other partners here to contribute, and also with the help of the university researchers and university talent. Exoskeleton is one of the topics that we are building with the aim of producing the exoskeleton locally in UAE. I think exoskeleton demand is huge. We did a market study and we found that this technology is very valuable here to the rehabilitation centers from healthcare and oil and gas as industrial sector. Conductive concrete here is a project fully directed by American University of Sharjah professors. It is to create a new concrete material by having materials here against electromagnetic field, and here this is good for smart cities and also for resilience and smart homes. And at the end, artificial intelligence, we have different projects in artificial intelligence like agri-tech, artificial intelligence in agri-tech, artificial intelligence in pain management, artificial intelligence in women healthcare, and artificial intelligence and emotional intelligence. Here, this is at a glance that our park. I think if we'll talk about the park, we'll stay for hours. Now, let me go to the next step, which is the topic that we are talking about here. Now, I would like to ask all of you a question that would like to go back 10 years from now. Imagine the COVID-19 happened in 2010. What will happen to us from different aspects? I think if you imagine well that you will see that in 2010, we didn't have any perspective about the digital transformation, which we have now. We didn't have an acceptance of the e-learning. Even the e-learning technology exist from a while. The average of internet connection speed, it was at the time limited to 25 megabits per second. And the interconnection between institutions was a real nightmare. Very expensive and restricted video conference. I think what we have here as having more than 100 participants in the webinar, and we have 4 people here in a live streaming video. This is something could not happen in 2010 due to the infrastructure restriction and to the video compression also technology and also to the bandwidth done. No cloud computing in 2010. People talking about cloud computing, it was a buzzword, but nothing happened. This is no data centers using real cloud computing, where we see the benefit of cloud computing that most of the schools are using and the cloud tools for their e-learning and for their learning materials, and also for the video conferencing, like here what we are using is a cloud computing video conferencing tool. And also that we can work online. That's why I highlighted in red here, no online schooling, no online working, no online shopping, no smart government, which means here you can't sit at home and prevent yourself from the pandemic, and you don't do this one. You need to go to school, you need to go to work, you need to eat, you need to do shopping, you need also to do some government services, which is vital to anybody here in the country or in the region. No fast computing power and the huge storage, which is available everywhere, even in K-12 schools. And investment in infrastructure, it was significant at that time. Imagine when you are in 2010, which means no artificial intelligence, you don't have IoT, and you don't have all what we are talking about now, which means no productivity and a shutdown. It will be a real shutdown in all means. Now, going to the next step, which is the comparison of e-learning before, during, and after COVID. To be honest with you, as a veteran of e-learning from 2007, and I contributed on setting up an e-learning platform from A to Z for universities and for schools and even for governments. I am a little bit tricky about the definition of an e-learning. I think here e-learning, we talked about distance learning, we talked about online learning. And e-learning, it has different methodologies and deliverables. This is, we have the face-to-face, which is the physical, which is the traditional learning, okay? And we have the online, which is the synchronous, which means like now I am delivering my speech online and everybody is hearing me online. And you have the asynchronous, which means offline, where here we can access to content and to access to the pedagogical aspect of learning and acquiring knowledge. And here I set different criteria about before the COVID-19 about the e-learning. That's the e-learning, it is on the cloud now. We don't need to implement it on premises and we don't need to have even an IT to have it. This is in simple click that you can have your platform and you can start using the e-learning platform to deliver your content. E-learning accreditation is accepted now. I hope that after COVID-19, if even the qualification should be accepted, because here we see the importance of e-learning, but the importance of e-learning is on the design of the content. The importance of the e-learning, how we deliver it, and my students are abroad, okay? How I can guarantee that the outcome delivered or the performance criteria are set properly to my learner, okay, 100% as it is in the face-to-face. Here, this is the content. As I said, the content design in face-to-face, the content design in online learning, which are different from the delivery mode. For the assessment, which is very important here, and assessment criteria in face-to-face is completely different, the assessment criteria and delivery mode, online delivery. Why I am saying this one? Because people actually, during the COVID-19, they think they are using an online. They are not using it. This is not an online education. Okay, that's why I put the statement. This statement is not mine. This is from Dr. I brought it here. It's an emergency response to provide education during a pandemic using online. I think this is very important statement here. And you see that more than 775 million school children are affected worldwide, and they are using the emergency response online, which means this is a big question that we have to ask about disaster recovery, business continuity. Online learning is one aspect of the business continuity on education. Online learning is not as for today. We are using the same content and the same assessment as the physical face-to-face, but using the video conference and distributed to our students, and we are claiming that we are online. Here, we can take lessons from this one, and we can prepare for the future, which is after COVID-19. Smart education, it will be for all. You will see it will be a mandatory and regulatory to all, from private school, from public school, from universities, from clinics, and more homeschooling. I think this is an excellent point that we couldn't achieve before COVID-19 because regulations and policies, but like we imposed now the regulation and policy and using the online, now we can collect the fruitful of the online education. As I said, the emergency response, but we have to adapt it to be an online schooling. Accepted online qualifications. Online courses like MOOC will be really, it will be a big step on open courseware and to be open to all. Most of the MOOC or the open courseware provider, they are providing courses now for free and limited to a certain time, but this I think will be opened forever for free for all because they see the value of distributing the content in a very nice way. Educating citizens in interconnected worlds, this is very important here. I can have a professor in UAE and I can have students in Africa and I can connect with Zoom and I can deliver an excellent lesson, but I have to define the role of this educator. In this case, the redefinition of the role of educator is important. And teaching life skills is needed for the future as we have to adapt for the new technologies, unlocking technology to deliver education. And here the regulation is, regulators should do their right job now to take lessons from this one and to provide the right policies and regulations for all. UAE opportunity as regional hub for online learning. I think UAE is a leader in online learning. We have Hamdan bin Hamad Smart University, who delivered a lot of online courses for teachers worldwide, which is a unique experience. The global tech market as the concentration of education technology, and Dr. Sarah, I think you see this one is for you. Here, the market is blowing, I think, to more than $40 billion by 2022. And here, this is the pharma training and education. I think it could be part of this. Continued distance learning initiative in the UAE after COVID. Yes, it is. It will be continue and it will be centralized. Here, you see this statement from Dubai Future Foundation said, if we didn't have this crisis, this change will have taken years of planning, prototyping, and other steps before being implemented, which means if we don't have the crisis, still we are talking about pilot project. But now we are on production. And here, this is a big step to the future and thinking about commercializing online learning from content design to the assessment design and also to the technology deliverables for the online learning. It's a must for the future. Now, going to the next step, which is the employability. I can guarantee for our startups and innovators, I think this time or after COVID-19, the time is yours. Either working as an outsourcing, okay, I think outsourcing, it will be much more demanded as the hiring, and this is coming from experts. And I'm not talking about myself, and this is a lot of experts worldwide, they are claiming that the outsourcing will be the main employment factor in the future. Why? Because a lot of companies will have financial aspects after COVID-19, and they would like to ramp up their problems and to go beyond their strategy. In this case, they need experts, they need innovators to work with them, but they can't hire them to guarantee salaries or this business operation. In this case, they can have them as in outsourcing and also in consultancy. Working remotely to be accepted and to be the norm. I think here this will see that the HR policies will be adapted, I think, for this one. And if we go to ask for new positions in companies, they will ask us alternatives, either to work from home or to work from the premises. Large events, seminars, and workshops will go digital, definitively, and it will reduce a lot of costs from the financial aspect of this one. And here, this is the people working on events, seminar, workshops. I think they have to be prepared for the digital transformation. Automation will increase rapidly, it's true. And here, automation from the performance management, for the business process management, and also, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Walid, he has some insights here concerning the strategy 2071, talking about this specifically. Thank you very much. I think I am on time, Dr. Sarah, and I leave to others.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ahmad, for this insights. And a little bit we are away, but that will be fine, we'll manage. I just have one comment because, to be honest, we are a case study, a real case study for the Science Park. And I need to address this because it was like astonishing for us and unexpected. I visited the park once and I was very admired with all the venues and all this kind of collaboration, because it's very hard to have this kind of collaboration between academia and business, to be honest. You know, it's a kind of battle everywhere. So we went for the park and we got a license before from Dubai, and we were looking for Sharjah because Sharjah for us is a hub of innovation and for R&D. So literally in less than 15 minutes, we got our license to be part of Sharjah Park, which is totally different and like some kind of transformation between the process and all the steps that we need to have, because we tried this before like a few years back. And now in Sharjah, they are developing the process to be very agile and smooth. So this is a kind of real proof how this kind of proactivity and be ready for adopting new startups and new ideas can really work to, we can say, bridge the gap and also find more opportunities. People like us, startups, they are more agile and we work from home basically. So we are the last one who are complaining of this, but with Sharjah Science Park and with this kind of guidance and coaching, I guess we can have something valuable and it will be very, as you mentioned, contributing to the GDP, contributing to opportunities, and also it will open a door for other options for people to work as well. So thank you for Sharjah Science Park. We are part of it. We are so proud of this. And thanks for the smooth transition that happened through the years.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now we need to go through Dr. Van, and let's have the academic background and academic point of view. How the American University of Sharjah were able to cope with this kind of crisis, and also how this kind of future they have it. What you have in the plan? I know that you have a very good success story during this kind of transformation, Dr. Van, and please give us more insight about it and how you and us can learn to be ready for the coming days and the future. Please have the lead.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful webinar. I have moved from the UK to the UAE 18 months ago and joined the university, the American University of Sharjah, part of the Industrial Engineering Department. And one aspect of my role at the department is at the College of Engineering is being the director of alternative delivery. So thank you for introducing me to the audience. I think I'm going to jump directly into talking about the world of academia once the slides start running. So a lot of people think that in academia, we are just teachers, we only teach. But the truth is we have very important three-legged activities which evolve around teaching, research, and enterprise. So through teaching, we turn our learners into graduates. Through research, we turn industry problems into solutions. And through enterprising, we connect the university to industry through the world of work. So all these activities contribute to education, training, and employability, which is the theme of this webinar. And it's fun to be in academia. It's a lot of hard work, but a lot goes on in academia. It's just not the lectures, the conferences, the seminars, the labs, the experiments that students have to go through, and the student clubs and the competitions and projects and dissertations and the internships and the industrial training that they have to go through, and so on. So the ultimate goal of learning in engineering and teaching our students is to promote the experiential learning, which is the mode of learning in engineering, which really it's a process of linking their education with their personal development and work. So the combination of these three things really prepare our graduates to complete a learning process, and that is giving them opportunity to reflect, conceptualize what they learn, and test it through real life experiences or within the curricula. But this world of academia is quite dynamic. We live in a dynamic world that is forever changing. So we face problems with the fast movement of the technology, fast development of the technology. At times of disasters, a lot of challenges create themselves, and other challenges like terrorism, global warming, all these things have an impact on academia. On top of that, and now we have the disease that has taken us by surprise, which all these things have an impact on the economy and the fluctuation in the economy, and gets our leaders and politicians to come up with new policies that we have to comply with and change our practices through. So unfortunately, higher education is one of the most suffering sectors in the face of these challenges, because Many of you would know recruitment suffer, retention suffers because of people traveling and facing certain circumstances. Programs, also the intake and so on, can suffer. Graduate employability also suffers because of recessions, and faculty retention because of shrinking of programs and limited resources and so on. And this often creates a gap between academia and industry. And through these changes also, societies transform, priorities and spendings across government sectors change, research priorities change, so our focuses could shift from education to healthcare to migration, which really impacts on societies, and a lot of social needs develop due to all these changes. But most importantly, uh, educational needs also come to light. The portfolio and the profile of the society changes, and therefore higher education needs to be really better equipped to survive these dynamics and these changes. So as Corona took us by surprise at the University of Sharjah, I'm going to briefly introduce you to our shared experiences at the university, the American University of Sharjah, and how we coped with this crisis. So I'm glad that Dr. Ahmed introduced the university. I'm going to introduce our College of Engineering, which really has 6 departments, and we offer a number of programs from bachelor degrees to masters and doctoral degrees. Our students come from different parts of the world, and the highest intake of students, undergraduate students in the university is for the College of Engineering. We have also master students, and we have a good number of PhD students from a newly established PhD program. We have 97 members of academic staff, and we are so proud to have just moved into our new building in September 2019. It has the latest technology embedded in it, and it was opened by His Highness Dr. Sultan bin Muhammad Al Qasimi, the ruler of Sharjah. So with the latest state of the art and technologies that have really, we've been very lucky to have our classrooms equipped with. We're very proud of the also facilities within these buildings. As you can see, we have so many laboratories for so many different departments. So we are in a very healthy and lucky position to have all these things for our students. Our classrooms are also equipped with interactive TVs, although not many people really had used them before Corona crisis arrived. And we also had we have our virtual learning environment, which is Blackboard, but also our classrooms are equipped with video cameras for lecture captures and so on. And we have a strong IT services who offer regular training. But before Corona, not many of these tools and practices and facilities were fully utilized to use them for online delivery. This would be a normal day when I go to my lecture, and I would give my lecture and will have my lecture captured in the classroom and have it archived for the student. But that's because of the nature of what I teach, and also because I am interested in providing these things to the students. But not very many faculty were up to scratch with these technologies. And before Corona, we also were preparing to apply for blended learning application to the Commission of Academic Accreditation to get the license for to deliver in blended learning. So that was one of the limitations to why not many of us really used the technology, and it took us weeks and few months to put the application together and so on. But in my role, I had tried to integrate some strategies within the department before the crisis arrived, and we were just training our graduate teaching assistants to really use the technology in order to help faculty and support them with their teaching through innovative methods of teaching and use the technology. And we certified them, and in a way we were trying to equip our students with the technology so that they are the future educators and they can also support us. But what I've also introduced was that we had a representative from each department and a technology supporting coordinator that we would really send and pass on messages from myself as director of alternative delivery to the department, so that we can encourage the intake and adaptation of technology and see if we can introduce small case studies as good examples for others to use. So all these stories were taking off slowly and surely before the crisis. But when the crisis arrived, it was a very interesting story that many of us are proud of sharing, really. On the 2nd of March, we had the announcement that suddenly everybody has to train within 3 days and use a synchronous mode of delivery of teaching. So that's from absolutely not knowing anything to being competent in learning these tools. And then on the 6th of March, students had to stay at home. We were delivering from within the building at a distance. And then on the 19th of March, we were all at home delivering our teaching from home. So it was a disaster, as Dr. Ahmed said, and we felt we were in a state of emergency. So I all credit to our IT department. They fully equipped us within 48 hours with the latest state-of-the-art technologies. We had all mics, webcams. We even had our whiteboards transported to our homes in residence, and whatever technology we needed. So most of our living rooms and bedrooms turned into classrooms, but we were equipped and we were ready. We even had our digital tablets delivered to us. Yes, there were challenges in between, and we were very anxious because there was some delays in the arrival of the tablets and the standards and standardization of the equipments that we need to use. But through the hard work and diligence of the faculty, it was such a wonderful sense of community that this corona crisis has created within us. So we learned with passion and we delivered with passion. We learned from each other, and we motivated each other. And of course, there were funny stories to tell. For example, some of us delivered a 1.5 lecture without knowing that the mic was on or the camera was on, so writing on the board didn't catch anything. So there were funny stories as well, but it is through having a go and attempting to do things that we've learned from our mistakes, and we try to improve and develop. So it was fun, but it was hard work. We also learned we discovered lean ways of working. So Google Docs and spreadsheets and shared drives, they were amazing in order to manage our processes, to understand who needs training, who's got the equipment, which equipment arrived at which house. And it was a really brilliant time to reflect and think about. We also discovered our potential and resources, things that we were absolutely not aware of. We have such a brilliant IT team that whenever I want a software downloaded on my computer, they are just few seconds away and they come and do it. But now we've discovered that the university is so well equipped and you can actually access remotely all this software just at a click of a button. And we also challenge ourselves on how will we within 48 hours start delivering our experiments and so on. So the nicest one that I have come across, it was simply a lab instructor videoing the hydraulics experiment, and here you go on his mobile phone, and it was delivered. And we have so many stories to tell, success stories, while some of us physically would be attending the Dean's Assembly and meetings and missing out on some of these events physically. We had almost 100% turn up for these meetings online. And our community, in a way, has come together. And I now meet more people online than I ever met them physically. We have so many success stories. We each one of us evaluated their experiences individually because we cared about the students and we care about them so much. So we discovered new modes of deliveries. We understood through our surveys and creative ways of thinking what students' desires and trends are for the online delivery. But we also recognize our weaknesses, absolutely no doubt. I think we mitigated and tried to minimize the disruption of the study. All credit to our college. We never stopped teaching. Some universities were trying to figure out what to do, but within 48 hours, we were there, we were upbeat, and we were continuing. But we have to be better prepared. And on reflection, and to add to what Dr. Ahmed said, for years I have been involved in education and computer supported learning technologies, and I've seen the transition over the years and how we had virtual reality labs in the between 2000 and 2010, and the technology has always been available but improved as the speed of the internet improved, and we have cloud computing, and we have augmented reality that is so ready for us to use in education. But we found ourselves really short of these things, and we could have made a good use of virtual labs, for example, to make sure that our students get the experiential learning that they need. So while the comparing ourselves with the industry, I think they are well ahead of us in terms of utilizing the technologies, using robotics, 3D printing, and so on. We see real things in real times happening when the use of artificial intelligence. So upon reflection, I think we certainly are behind academia. Behind industry as academics, and we really need to rethink and rediversify our curricula to close the gap between academia and industry. So I'd say after COVID, we need to catch up with the industry for their practices. But I have to also give ourselves credit that during COVID, we were ahead of many establishments. We connected very quickly with our students, while some in the parts of the industry were figuring out how to do this. So now it is a catch-up time from both ends, the industry and the academia. We need to make sure that we work together and fill this gap. And because I represent the college in my role today as the Director of Alternative Delivery, I had to also interview our heads of departments who have been absolutely brilliant in their role in connecting us with the students. And I have passed on some of the messages from them to you today to say that they are all proud of how we managed to keep education process without interruption. These times for them are times of reflection. Every one of us, individuals, organizations, sectors, we need to reflect on our practices and see how we can improve them in the future. We need the support of the industry, and also we have a lot to offer the industry. And the big message from our wonderful dean, she says that she's impressed with the state of the art of the infrastructure that is capable of adopting different modes of teaching and learning at AOS. However, her point of reflection is that online delivery for the engineering education has specific needs different than other education sector, higher education sectors. Our labs, design projects, internships also have a vital yet meaningful experiences. So as a final slide, and my colleagues told me, will you finish in 15 minutes? I said yes. So higher education really needs to rethink and reform for sure its practices. We will have new entrants to the as new students with different expectations. We will need grants and resources to improve our practices. We will probably need to revamp the curricula to make it more multidisciplinary and introduce different brands of programs to suit different learners. And we have to have a very rigorous code of ethics because online has created and might create more problems in the future if we don't follow a good and a code of ethics. And the quality will certainly underpin the survivor of the fittest. So with that, I think, thank you very much for listening, and I will hand over to Sarah.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Ryan. It was very insightful, informative presentation. And yeah, in emergency and in crisis, we deal differently. We have this kind of, adrenaline mode. So we have rush for everything. And for us, especially, we have this experience like a few years back, we started to say, please, let's go for virtual reality labs for pharmacy special. And everyone was skeptical, what is this about and how we can use it and why. And even you mentioned that even we have the resources, we were so skeptical to utilize it inside our educational institutes, which is very hard. So for COVID-19, for us, sometimes it came with some opportunities more, acceleration more than to be like only like challenges. So I guess education will got the main benefit of this kind of crisis, and we will move forward and faster. And we got some questions from the audience about why there is a gap between academia and industry. So later on, I would like to hear from you why you feel this gap is there and how we can cover it now. So great, and now we need to go for Dr. Walid because we need to keep time for Q&A. So Dr. Walid can give us like more insights from the different governmental perspective. How UAE as a government managed to go through this COVID-19 crisis. And we saw that in many countries, some organizations like schools and universities closed and shut down. They were not able to go for the online. Online was a hectic and it's very costly. And if you are not ready before, it will be very unfair to go now for online. But UAE was one of the cases around the globe who managed to go through the online learning and distance learning very smooth regarding to all the challenges that we have. So we'd like to hear from you and know what exactly you give us regarding the trends of education and training coming years ahead. Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Walid.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank each and everybody of you, starting from Dr. Ahmed, Dr. Fayan, and Dr. Sarah. And thanks for the very nice invitation from SRTIP. I was very delighted to receive it and accept it as well. And thanks Dr. Ahmed and Dr. Fayan for the very nice presentation and the invaluable insights you gave through them. Actually, you left nothing for me, almost nothing. I'll try to do my best and maybe adding some aspect from the corporate level, from the governmental aspect. So let me open my presentation, please. Just a second. Yes. Okay. So right now, I think that everybody all over the globe is wondering, maybe, or for sure worried, thinking about the future, thinking about what will happen upon COVID-19 will go. So here in this webinar, we are targeting the future of education, training, and employment. So in my coming few slides, I will try to cover some points regarding future of education and training. So I will try to focus on three main pillars, if we can say. The impact of COVID-19 on the education and training. Also, I will have some kind of focus on the trends. This is from the technology radar of the UAE Sentinel 2071. And then I will talk a little bit about future skills for educators and trainers that would be of so much essential to all people in the field. So let's start by the impact. What impact did the coronavirus or COVID-19 made on the education and learning? So I have here 5 main impact points. So number one is it helped to create some kind of sense of urgency. Actually, the digital and smart transformation is in place and long time ago. And I'd like to confirm what Dr. Ahmed said beforehand about the infrastructure for digital learning, smart learning, or smart life in general. So in the UAE, or the United Arab Emirates, there is a very strong infrastructure for this. And I can confirm this or can claim this from my background, from my work experience with governmental entities. So I work with governmental entities either on the federal level or the local level in all Emirates, almost all Emirates with different governmental entities. So I can see this myself and I can confirm it and claim it myself that the infrastructure of the UAE in terms of digitalization and smart services and everything for in this field is very strong, and the governments are so proactive in this area. And for you to know that the UAE is one of the top 10 in digital transformation all over the world, according to World Census. Different World Census you can check for even WEF reports or any other legatum or any other World Census. So the crisis has made some of urgency for the digitalization of learning, of education, of training. So we are on the way, okay, and we started some years or long years ago, but it will have some acceleration for it, as Dr. Ahmed and Dr. Vine mentioned before. Number two, for the impact of this crisis on the world right now is remote learning. Remote learning becomes a strategic priority. It's not an option, it's not some kind of luxury, but became strategic priority for all governments, for all institutions, or educational institutions, all training institutions. It became very strategic, and that's why they will, it's estimated or expected that investment in learning management systems and the communications tools will be doubled or tripled in the coming few years. We have all seen that technology plays a key role. So technology will be also playing a key role in the coming years, and we will have it will be like the maestro for all works, for all education and training. Also something similar or the same as Dr. Ahmad mentioned is the wide acceptance for online certification would be. Many of us here before, if you provide certification from online learning or something, it will not be accepted as it is online, not like the traditional way of learning and accreditation. But now the scenario is different. If private institutions and training institutions worked on this before and tried to make some kind of approaches for online certification, I think now, and this is it will be moved to also the academia field, and this is can be also might be explained more by Dr. Ahmed and Dr. Ryan. Another point, and the last point in this impact of this crisis is the redefining of the role of educators and this is their skill set. I think there will be different skill set that will be required for educators and trainers upon COVID-19. And in this concern, I will, at the end of my presentation, I will show that some of the skills that is defined by the World Economic Forum. I will share it with you after a few minutes. So this is for the impact, and I think a lot of things that have been covered by Dr. Ryan and Dr. Ahmed. So the next point of my 3 points is trends. And in this concern, I would like to talk about the technology radar. Technology radar is part of the vision and Sentinel of UAE government, Sentinel 2071. It's some kind of vision or the strategic plan for the United Arab Emirates, and they have defined 6 future areas, 6 key future areas of focus until 2071, which are health, logistics, resources, production, mobility, education. And there is the government developed technology radar, what is called technology radar, and it consists of over 150 future trends that they are monitoring and developing some of them and maybe leaving some of them. So from my humble experience with governmental entities in the UAE, we can say that there are 3 categorizations for these future trends. So one of them is living the future, and I saw myself different aspects of these trends have been already applied in the UAE government. The classification number 2 is be proactive and act now. So there are some trends that they should be appearing after a few years, so they already working on it but not applied yet, and some of them are long term, so they keep it long term, maybe after 30-40 years, they keep it under the classification of wait and see, so until further development to see what we can do in them. So if we are talking about education, in the future radar, there are many trends. I try to, I cannot, actually, I don't have the luxury of time to talk about all of them, but I selected 5 of them. They are considered some of the top trends on the medium term, not short, not long term, but they are on the medium term in terms of education and training. One is educational token system, and expected to be available by 2025. Another is nano degree by 2028. AI mentor 2030. This is the year of applying, expected year for sure. And another one is mixed reality Google 2030. The last one in my list here is tactile response hologram 2033. If we go through each one of them and have just an overview about it to well understand what will go on in the future of education and learning, the educational talking system, this is some kind of visual talking for achievement, you know, normal way of assessment of students, trainer, is some kind of testing, having, you know, some kind of testing, even if it's theoretical or practical whatsoever. In this system, there will be some kind of social, social verification for the skills of the trainer or the skills of the student. So through a certain network over the internet, and this is something would be added value for not only the academic area of the student or the trainer, but also the behavioral area. And already maybe some schools, some universities in some parts of the world has already started to apply this system, but in a very short scale. Number two is called nano degree. And I can link this trend with what Dr. Vayan said as a challenge, which is the gap between the academia and industry. I think this trend will fill this gap in a way or another, or help in decreasing the gap between academia and industry. This nano degree is some kind of third-party online provider for education and training, targeting some part in the curriculum, but related directly to what's happening on the ground of industry, and try to make hands-on for all students and trainers on this specific area. Okay, so I think that this might help in decreasing the gap, as we said. So the other, or the third trend in education and training is AI mentor. I think Dr. Sarah has something for mentorship that she's preparing, as much as I'm concerned. And but in this trend, this future trend is integrating the artificial intelligence with in activation or activity and interaction with human beings. So imagine that we have a mentor like a robot, or having a device that's helping us in all our lives, in our study, in our work. So integrating the artificial intelligence to be supporting as mentor for students. This is one of the future trends. Another trend for expected to be available by 2030 is mixed reality Google, which is some kind of wearables. You know wearables, some little devices that we can wear, we can have it as a companion. Okay, this is making a mix, or some kind of augmented reality and virtual reality, which is adding some kind of layers for holographic digital content and real-time environment. So this is some kind of hybrid solutions for technology to having this kind of mix, in order to support also the transformation, the digital and smart transformation for learning, training and education. by using the highest technology and holograms, augmented reality, virtual reality, and so on. I think that investment on these trends will be much heavier than before. And the last, but not the least, trend here I would like to mention is called Tactile Response hologram. To describe this trend very simply, you know that through the digital and or virtual reality, virtual learning, we can have two senses. We can use two senses. These two senses is vision, we can see, and we can hear, okay? But in this technology, we can have more senses like touching. You know, when I touch the screen and I found maybe a butterfly and I can catch it, I can feel it in my hand, okay? Also, I can touch, I can hear, I can smell, and this is very weird as well, but I think nothing will be weird in the near future. So this is one of the trends also that might be available in the future, and it will have more dimension for our life and enhance the training and education area. So no news for these trends. It's already working on. The scientific centers already working on these trends. It's not, we didn't know about it right now. It's already available for researchers. But I think the acceleration and the speed will be more, you see, and no more. If we can talk about this tactile response hologram to appear by 2033, I think it may be maybe 5 years less, you see. And I try to do my best to summarize the last point, which is skill set, and about the educators and the trainers, which is, as mentioned by World Economic Forum. I will try to brief it as much as possible. Resilience, we can see that it's very important right now, and in the future as well. Continuous learning, it's not that for the educator that he had already some qualification and stopped. No, it's continuous learning, flexibility and ability and adaptability, sorry, and then the need for agility. We have seen the movement from traditional to digital or online learning in such a few days or a few weeks that needs so much adaptability and flexibility. Entrepreneurial skills needs here needed to be available, emotional intelligence and how to communicate and how to lead people, creativity and critical thinking. This is so much important. I'd like to focus on it because we have different paradigm eras all over the history of humanity, and the last era we live in, or rest paradigm era, is called the innovation and creativity era. So this will be of much importance in the future. I think time almost finished. Am I right? So thank you very much again. Thanks for SRTIP. Thanks, Dr. Ahmed, Dr. Vayan, Dr. Sarah, for this nice invitation. And I'm so honored and delighted to be with all of you here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Walid, for this insights. And actually, we just have like 15 minutes. I came with dozens of questions, and I have many questions to ask you, but the time is very short, and we have also questions from the audience. So I'll try to make like one question for every one of you, and please, like 3 minutes answer will be very fine for us. My first question will be for Dr. Ahmed. What will be the first advice you can give right now for the startups who are trying to start in edutech right now, right here? What will be your recommendations and how they can start and make sure they can make the right move?
Yeah, excellent question. I think edutech, it was always the the spotlight of technology or emerging technology from 2000 until now. I'm glad that it comes up and comes back. And the pandemic, I think, showed the importance of education technology. I urge companies or startups to start working on using fourth industrial revolution in education technology, like artificial intelligence. I think it will help a lot institutions in measure the competency of a learner and students and trainees, and which lead to creation of a lot of platforms of education by using these technologies. The burden of education technology is coming, first of all, from the subject matter expert, linked to the multimedia expert and the instructional designer, what we talk about, and to the delivery. Now, okay, the delivery we have seen, we have no problem of delivery. We have cloud computing, we have this video conferencing free of charge, we have everything. We have open courseware everywhere worldwide. We have no justifications. But the problem is here, how to evaluate, how to perform, okay? I'm sitting home, I'm a student, I'm acquiring knowledge, but knowledge is not important now. Knowledge, we find it, it's on the internet. I don't need a professor to give me knowledge. I think I can spread my knowledge, I can create knowledge and spread the knowledge as a student. But I need somebody to mentor me for skills and competencies, which is very important in education and it's very, very important in training.
Okay, that's very insightful. And I guess the Science Park will play a big role in this to push this forward and make sure that we can have this. And our vision is to have like a big hub, because as all the reports and all the trends will show, UAE has a big chance to be the regional hub for the online and distance learning with using all technology, and really like to be part of this. So I have one more question, if you don't mind. It came from one of the audience. What happened with the ongoing research projects in pandemic, particularly in bioresearch? What's the plan to restart?
We received, this is really interesting here. We received a lot of proposals, research proposals in drugs, on chemical products regarding the antivirus or others. I think this is kind of fundamental research. Normally, we should not wait for the pandemic. This is to start with. Here, I think here the pharmaceutical fundamental science should be revised. I think is not only for emerging medicine, but for this type of pandemic, that it has to be taken in consideration from a while. And here the link between pharmaceutical and the medical institution is very important, very important.
Okay, that's very nice. My next question is for Dr. Van. I'm trying to just address, because we have too much questions here. So Dr. Van, for you as a key person in kind of the online learning, what do you find the major challenge that you are facing now for the delivery of quality education at the College of Engineering or in UAS generally?
Dr. Sarah, thank you for the question. I think the most important thing the biggest challenge we are now facing is the internship scheme, having opportunities for our students to engage in industry practices, to conduct their projects and so on. So we are desperately looking for these opportunities, but even so, the university has done really well by connecting the college to industry, and we have like a virtual internship workshop that is about to happen or just happened or ongoing, and that's really to connect companies and assign students to projects through these companies. So we would like more of these things to happen. Also, we were a bit slow with the virtual labs, but now a couple of departments are kicking off with the use of virtual labs to compensate for the presence in the physical labs and to get students to gain the full skills of experiential learning and so on through interacting with the existing applications. So these are really the main challenges that we are facing. There are other challenges that we are all going through as universities, and that's to do with assessments and so on. So conducting safe and fair ways of assessing the students, that's another challenge, but that's beside the point, because most importantly is how can we secure industrial training for our students, and how can we mimic these experiences through online applications.
Okay, it sounds interesting. I guess we need to have another session only for the Q&As because we have too much questions. So I'm trying to pick randomly, but there is only one more question for Dr. Van. They ask if the AUS already started to deliver any VR content for the students, because this is our area in pharmacy. So I'm so passionate also to listen to you in this.
Right. I know from interviewing one of the heads of departments of electrical engineering, he said that they are using now virtual labs, and they have managed to kick off with a couple of applications to get students to interact with the applications and do experiments through these applications. And this is what the college as a whole is trying to do and invest in. So this is on top of the agenda, and I hope we will come up with speed with this.
Okay, we are looking for more like good news to be happen, and I guess also the park will have a big responsibility now to push this forward between industry and academia to make sure that we have a smooth development of this content, and yeah, we try to make the best use of our potentials. So Dr. Walid, we have a very nice question, which is, do we still need critical thinking in the context of the rise of creativity, innovative, and strategic thinking?
Very nice question. I like it so much. So in this case, I would like to give an example. You see this? I don't know if you can see it or not. If I show you this piece of something, what you will name it? What is it?
It's a Lego or what's up?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a piece of Lego, okay? So if in traditional way of thinking, when I look at this and say that this is a piece of Lego, okay, this is nothing, okay, this is normal, okay, this is what it is. But somebody someday looked at this little piece of Lego and imagined a fun city made of this on the base of this concept of this Lego, which is now Legoland. Okay, so we have to, there is a correlation between critical thinking and innovation as well. And it's this very essential skill to be available, even for, to be educated for kids and taught for kids and for university students and for everybody, for all of us needs to improve our critical thinking skills, because this is one of the most essential skills, as well as innovation and creativity from now on.
May I say something here, Dr. Sarah?
Yes, you.
I think this is very important also to highlight the importance of vocational education and training. As I mentioned, the importance of training for the future is to concentrate on the skills and the competency. But here, to elaborate what Dr. Walid said, soft skills are very important and most important than the hard skills. I think here universities and schools should develop the soft skills where critical thinking, creativity, innovation, teamworking, communication are very important here for anybody to work in the future and to adopt the fourth industrial revolution skills and competency. Adding to this one, I urge, as I see from the list, a professor from the Commission of the Accreditation Body here in UAE. Thank you for participating, Professor. And I'm glad that you are hearing us. I think this is an excellent exercise here coming to the Commission, this to see the policy of accreditation for universities and for also vocational and training centers about adopting technology, not only in the case of disaster and business continuity, but also to deliver the right qualification at the right time. Thank you.
Okay, that's very interesting, Dr. Ahmed. And there is one more question that will be related to this. because they will mention, what do you think about the Ministry of Education? Will they authorize the academic institutions to teach online even after the pandemic will over? Do you think that we will have this as an adopted way of education?
Yeah, sorry, but this question, I think this is not well formed. I think we have here the University of Hamdan bin Muhammad Smart University, who adopted from even 2003 and 4 the online learning, and they got the accreditation in 2007, which is one of the first universities in the Arab world, but they're unique in UAE. The accreditation body, they have 2 big format. This is the format for physical delivery, which means face-to-face, and format for the online. If your university would like to apply for an online education, they have to go to the accreditation body and to say, I will do this one. They have to meet the criteria. Any university can apply online learning, but they have a set of threshold. They should not exceed more than 30% online, and after it would be face-to-face. But Hamdan bin Muhammad University are using full online. They are using also the hybrid learning, which is this is face-to-face and online. And I think here the ministry is very flexible. The commissioner, they are accrediting both type of university, and this is something, this is not new, it's not for the pandemic, it exists already.
Okay, that's very interesting. One more question for Dr. Van. Are you seeing a possible end of many university programs? Because it seems education providers will now be open to competition in all over the world. So it's not limited to a city or a region. How do you see this kind of open market and online accessibility will be like a competitive edge for educational institutes and universities, Dr. Van?
I think we welcome all efforts. It will be great to have some online forums for the time being to see what service providers have and so on. But we also at the same time need to be very careful not to be slaves for the technology and get impressed by its dancing and singing all over, but really not meeting our needs and requirements, and they soon become redundant. So it's all about exhibiting their work. We would love to see what's out there. We would love them to be in touch with our problems so they can provide us with the relevant solutions and think with us. So I think it's a great era for service providers to come and engage with us, and we would more than welcome it.
We have 1 minute left for one question for Dr. Walid. What are the new trends of assessment in distance learning you think that might be viable?
For assessment of students?
Yeah, assessment of distance learning itself.
Yeah, it's already there. There are many dashboards and very sophisticated one. But it's not the idea that it's not spread on large scale. Now it's going to be on bigger scale, and it will have more focus in the coming few years. There are very smart dashboards that could be assessed. Also, beside the trend I talked about, which about having some kind of not only for the academic part, but for the behavioral part, for the skillful part of the student or the trainer.
Okay. Unfortunately, our time is over. I guess we need another session for only question. I'm sorry for the question we didn't answer, but we'll try to make sure that we have it and post it on the Science Park page on LinkedIn, so everyone can get some kind of information and insight. Thank you for the amazing speakers. It's such an honor to be with you, and we try to make a real success story that really academia can work with business, governmental and private can work together for the sake of every one of us. And we need this part to be like lesson learned from every one of us that pandemic will go and it will pass, and there is too much opportunities here in UAE, and we try to make the lead and make sure that after we are so ready and we are having the bright future in the coming days. Thank you for hosting us, and thank you for Dr. Ahmed, Dr. Wali, Dr. Van. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.